Ada.
Nah, pokoknya kalau dia roti, tahu dalam roti. Aku nih roti itu dan tadi itu taruh ini punya tadi. Ah, jatuh ini. Ini roti aku kan Ini baik, Pak. Ini baik, itu. Aku yang mau, Pak. Iya.
The mystical beauty of arts, culture, and heritage from east to west. We are ready to welcome the world. We are strong. We are the heirs of generations to create a better future. BNI for stronger Indonesia.
Tidak, tadi kayaknya coba
Untuk generasi muda, tidak hanya di Indonesia, tapi juga generasi muda dunia, perdamaian ini sangat penting. Tetapi perdamaian itu bukan sesuatu yang jatuh dari langit. Perdamaian is not given. Tetapi perdamaian itu harus di-nurture, harus dipelihara dengan kita bekerja. Salah satunya adalah dengan saling menghormati, karena dunia ini beraneka warna, dan generasi muda Indonesia dan seluruh dunia. Kalian adalah pemain utama, kontributor utama untuk menciptakan perdamaian. Mari kita semuanya bekerja sama untuk perdamaian.
Millennial Peace Festival, saya coba memang hari ini melihat dalam konteks apa yang menjadi keseharian milenial. Tentunya internet, tentunya gadget. Nah inilah yang makanya kami berharap sebagai salah satu outcome dari Millennial Peace Festival, teman-teman generasi muda akan lebih aktif lagi untuk membuat ekosistem internet kita ini menjadi lebih civilized, lebih bermartabat, lebih beradab, lebih humanistik, lebih damai.
Generasi muda dan pelajar untuk juga mencermati tentang media-media itu, dengan situs-situs itu dicermati. Jangan sampai terpengaruh oleh paham-paham intoleran, ujaran kebencian, apalagi sampai masuk dalam kelompok-kelompok terorisme.
Caranya bagus ya, jadi kita tuh bisa tahu perdamaian dunia itu seperti apa gitu, tentang paham radikalisme dan ekstremisme itu seperti apa, terus pencegahannya juga seperti apa gitu. Semoga banyak yang bisa ikut kegiatan ini lagi gitu, karena kegiatan ini seru banget, benar-benar seru banget dari awal aku ikutin sampai hari terakhir ini. Aku ngerasa banyak manfaatnya gitu. Sayang banget kalau nggak ikut.
In Indonesia, people, the government, the NGOs, they are promoting peace. So I really like that, the way they are in the events, the activities, and the people are very interesting. Everyone is coming to participate, presenting charts and making opinions to promote peace, educating other people. So I really like that.
Namaku Rende. Sekarang aku kelas 4 di STM Singaparna, Sukabumi, Jawa Barat. Di rumah aku tinggal sama ibu. Setiap harinya aku harus berjalan kaki pergi ke sekolah. Meskipun jalan yang aku lewati seperti ini, aku tetap bersyukur bisa bersekolah.
Ibu Yuni kamu buka.
Oh iya, hari ini ada kakak-kakak yang baik banget. Mereka datang sambil bawa hadiah buat aku dan teman-teman.
Dear Randy, bagaikan jarum di tumpukan jerami, impian adalah secercah harapan yang tak mudah untuk didapat. Akan ada air mata dan keringat yang senantiasa membasahi perjalananmu yang berbatu. Dik, ketahuilah, tidak ada satupun di dunia ini yang dapat menghentikan langkah kecilmu. Semoga hadiah sederhana ini dapat melindungi dan menghangatkan kaki saat melangkah menyusuri jalan berbatu nan dingin yang akan kamu tempuh menuju impian tertinggi. Dengan cinta, Jam Krindo.
kami berharap bahwa program MBKM yang mengambil tema pokok tentang bagaimana merawat kerukunan umat beragama yang kemudian ada di dalam modul Nusantara ini bisa berjalan secara sustainable. Dan sore tadi teman-teman tim MBKM ini sudah mengunjungi beberapa titik, diantaranya adalah gereja paroki, kemudian gereja Pasundan, kemudian juga Yayasan Islam Fisabilillah yang berada di Kampung Sawah, Kelurahan Jatimurni, Kota Bekasi.
Kiranya kegiatan ini boleh bersama-sama menularkan virus persaudaraan, virus toleransi, sehingga kita semua dapat menjalani kehidupan dengan rukun, bukan hanya antar agama, antar suku, antar golongan, dan kita semua boleh hidup berbineka, sehingga nilai-nilai Pancasila sudah hidupi dalam kehidupan sehari-hari dan semua bagian bangsa ini boleh merasakan damai sejahtera.
Saya pikir ini menjadi satu kesempatan baik buat kami menyampaikan pesan-pesan ini yang barangkali bisa juga ditularkan untuk tempat-tempat lain.
Generasi muda ini ada kemajuan karena berkunjung ke lokasi kampung sawah ini kan yang dikenal kampung Pancasila, ada kerukunan. Jadi berarti ada niat dari mereka generasi muda ini menciptakan suasana di masyarakat manapun dia nanti beraktivitas, ya harus ada menampilkan sosok yang paling utama itu hidup rukun.
Kami mengucapkan apresiasi setinggi-tingginya sekaligus terima kasih kepada tim MBKM Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia Jakarta yang berkunjung bersama dengan tim MBKM Merdeka Belajar Kampus Merdeka bersama 19 mahasiswa dari 14 kampus seluruh Indonesia, mulai dari yang ujung barat Universitas Syahwala sampai kampus di ujung timur Indonesia Universitas Mataram, Kampung Sawah, Kelurahan Jatimurni, Kota Bekasi, yang memang secara historis Kampung Sawah ini menjadi role model atau model percontohan bagaimana proses kerukunan beragama itu bisa terawat dengan baik dan terpelihara sampai saat ini. Nah, sekali lagi kami mengucapkan terima kasih atas kunjungan tim MBKM Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia. Mudah-mudahan kita bisa bersinergi secara lebih baik dan lebih produktif lagi. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The mystical beauty of arts, culture, and heritage. From east to west, we are ready to welcome the world. We are strong. We are the heirs of generations to create a better future. BNI for stronger Indonesia.
untuk generasi muda, tidak hanya di Indonesia, tetapi juga generasi muda dunia, perdamaian ini sangat penting hati. Tetapi perdamaian itu bukan sesuatu yang jatuh dari langit. Perdamaian is not given. Tetapi perdamaian itu harus di-nurture, harus dipelihara dengan kita bekerja. Salah satunya adalah dengan saling menghormati karena dunia ini beraneka warna dan generasi muda Indonesia dan seluruh dunia. Kalian adalah pemain utama, kontributor utama untuk menciptakan perdamaian. Mari kita semuanya bekerja sama untuk perdamaian.
Millennial Peace Festival, saya coba memang hari ini melihat dalam konteks apa yang menjadi keseharian milenial. Tentunya internet, tentunya gadget. Nah inilah yang makanya kami berharap sebagai salah satu outcome dari Millennial Peace Festival, teman-teman generasi muda akan lebih aktif lagi untuk membuat ekosistem internet kita ini menjadi lebih civilized, lebih bermartabat, lebih beradab, lebih humanistik, lebih damai.
Generasi muda dan pelajar untuk juga mencermati tentang media-media itu, dengan situs-situs itu dicermati. Jangan sampai terpengaruh oleh paham-paham intoleran, ujaran kebencian, apalagi sampai masuk dalam kelompok-kelompok terorisme.
Caranya bagus ya, jadi kita tuh bisa tahu perdamaian dunia itu seperti apa gitu, tentang paham radikalisme dan ekstremisme itu seperti apa, terus pencegahannya juga seperti apa gitu. Semoga banyak yang bisa ikut kegiatan ini lagi gitu, karena kegiatan ini seru banget, benar-benar seru banget dari awal aku ikutin sampai hari terakhir ini. Aku ngerasa banyak manfaatnya gitu, sayang banget kalau nggak ikut.
In Indonesia, people, the government, the NGOs, they are promoting peace. So I really like that the way they are in the events, the activities, and the people are very interesting. Everyone is coming to participate, presenting charts and making opinions to promote peace, educating other people. So I really like that.
Sama Rende. Sekarang aku kelas 4 di STM Sinopharma Sukabumi, Jawa Barat. Di rumah aku tinggal sama ibu. Setiap harinya aku harus berjalan kaki pergi ke sekolah. Meskipun jalan yang aku lewati seperti ini, aku tetap bersyukur bisa bersekolah. Ibu Yuni kamu buka. Oh iya, hari ini ada kakak-kakak yang baik banget. Mereka datang sambil bawa hadiah buat aku dan teman-teman.
Dear Randy, bagaikan jarum di tumpukan jerami, impian adalah secercah harapan yang tak mudah untuk didapat. Akan ada air mata dan keringat yang senantiasa membasahi perjalananmu yang berbatu. Dik, ketahuilah, tidak ada satupun di dunia ini yang dapat menghentikan langkah kecilmu. Semoga hadiah sederhana ini dapat melindungi dan menghangatkan kaki saat melangkah menyusuri jalan berbatu nan dingin yang akan kamu tempuh menuju impian tertinggi. Dengan cinta, Jam Krindo.
Jam itu yang ke-52.
kami berharap bahwa program MBKM yang mengambil tema pokok tentang bagaimana merawat kerukunan umat beragama yang kemudian ada di dalam modul Nusantara ini bisa berjalan secara sustainable. Dan sore tadi teman-teman tim MBKM ini sudah mengunjungi beberapa titik, diantaranya adalah gereja paroki, kemudian gereja Pasundan, kemudian juga Yayasan Islam Fisabilillah yang berada di Kampung Sawah, Kelurahan Jatimurni, Kota Bekasi.
Kiranya kegiatan ini boleh bersama-sama menularkan virus persaudaraan, virus toleransi, sehingga kita semua dapat
Rindu. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our master of ceremony today, Richard.
Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Bapak dan Ibu hadirin yang kami hormati, pertama-tama marilah kita panjatkan puja dan puji syukur kita kehadapan Tuhan yang Maha Esa, karena atas berkat dan rahmat-Nya lah kita dapat berkumpul pada hari ini, Selasa 17 Januari 2023 bertempat di Auditorium Perpustakaan Nasional Jakarta dalam acara Eugen Summit 2023, Reflecting on Pancasila Values in the Modern Era to Actualize the Golden of Indonesia and its contribution to global peace. Boleh kita berikan tepuk tangan sama-sama untuk acara Eugen Summit 2023. Dan juga tentunya selanjutnya peranan kami selaku pembawa acara untuk memberikan ucapan selamat datang kepada tamu-tamu kehormatan yang telah hadir dari beberapa instansi. Yang pertama, Chairperson of Global Peace Foundation Indonesia, Ibu Dr. Anda Fenika Kristianto, SHMH MA MKN. Selamat siang Ibu. Dan selanjutnya, kepada Representative of Global Peace Foundation Asia Pacific, Mr. Inggilra. Dan selanjutnya juga kepada co-founder dari Citra Institute, Bapak Dr. Heriono Tarjono, SH, MKN. Selamat siang Bapak. Dan selanjutnya juga kepada Executive Director of Citra Institute, Bapak Yusa Farhan MSI yang juga sekaligus sebagai Dekan Fakultas Ilmu Sosial dan Ilmu Politik Universitas Sutomo. Selamat siang Bapak. Dan juga kepada Rektor Universitas Taman Siswa Palembang, Bapak Ki Dr. Azwar Agus SH MHum. Selamat siang Bapak. Dan selanjutnya juga kepada Dekan Fakultas Hukum Universitas Muhammadiyah Tangerang, Ibu Dwi Nur Fauziah Ahmad SHMH, yang pada kesempatan kali ini diwakili oleh Wakil Dekan 1 Fakultas Hukum Universitas Muhammadiyah Tangerang, Bapak Dr. Aulia Kasanova SHMH. Dan juga kami ucapkan selamat datang kepada Direktur Program Pasca Sarjana Universitas Muhammadiyah Tangerang, Bapak Dr. Ismail Marzuki MPD. Selamat datang Bapak. Dan selanjutnya juga kami ucapkan selamat datang kepada Dekan Fakultas Hukum Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia, Bapak Dr. Yusuf Hidayat SAGMH atau yang mewakili. Ya, dan kami ucapkan juga selamat datang kepada yang kami hormati Direktur Pasca Sarjana Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia, Bapak Dr. Foki Fuad SHMHum. Dan kepada yang kami hormati Head of Partnership President University, Ibu Marisa Astika BSc MBA. Ya. Dan berikutnya kami juga ucapkan selamat datang kepada Kepala Program Studi Bisnis Digital Universitas Insan Cita Indonesia, Bapak Muhammad Jawahir SEMPA. Ya, dan kami ucapkan juga selamat datang kepada yang kami hormati Koordinator Program Studi Pendidikan Luar Sekolah Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan Universitas Jember, Bapak Fuad Hasan, SPD, MPD. Dan juga kami hormati Kepala Sekolah Menengah Atas 3 Jakarta, Ibu Rita Hastuti, MPD. Ya, selamat datang Ibu, dan tentu kami ucapkan juga selamat datang walaupun tidak hadir secara langsung kepada our distinguished virtual speakers, Associate Professor at Vrije University Amsterdam, Mr. Dr. Prosper Magucu LLM, dan juga dari jaringan Gus Durian, Ibu Inaya Wahid. Boleh kita berikan tepuk tangan sekali lagi untuk para speaker dan juga tamu-tamu kehormatan kami, dan juga tepuk tangan untuk seluruh peserta ya yang hari ini hadir secara langsung maupun yang turut mengikuti secara online ya, kepada seluruh peserta dari UGen Summit 2023. Baik, sebelumnya kami juga ingin menyapa ya perwakilan-perwakilan ini ya dari setiap universitas yang berpartisipasi di acara UGen Summit pada hari ini ya. Boleh dong kita mau sapa dulu untuk teman-teman dari Universitas Muhammadiyah Tangerang. Yang mana boleh berdiri semuanya? Ayo, mana nih yang dari Universitas Muhammadiyah Tangerang boleh berdiri ya? Oh, pimpinan-pimpinan juga ikut berdiri, luar biasa sekali. Selanjutnya kita ingin mengucapkan juga selamat datang untuk rekan-rekan dari Universitas Insan Cita Indonesia. Boleh berdiri semuanya? Ayo, mana nih? Yang mana? Yang mana? Oke. Oh, wanita-wanita luar biasa hadir ya hari ini. Dan selanjutnya juga kepada rekan-rekan dari Presiden University, boleh berdiri semuanya? Yang mana nih? Wow, ini kayaknya paling banyak rombongannya ya. Boleh tepuk tangan dong teman-teman dari Presiden University. Oke, dan selanjutnya juga dari Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia. Yang mana? Oke, boleh berdiri ya. Oke, terima kasih atas kehadirannya, dan juga tentunya kita ingin mengucapkan selamat datang untuk teman-teman yang mengikuti acara UGen Summit pada hari ini melalui aplikasi Zoom ya, kepada rekan-rekan dari Universitas Taman Siswa Palembang. Boleh tepuk tangannya ya untuk teman-teman dari Universitas Taman Siswa Palembang, dan juga tepuk tangan kita untuk teman-teman dari Universitas Jember ya, boleh tepuk tangannya. Dan sekali lagi juga tepuk tangan juga untuk teman-teman dari Universitas Sutomo. Ada yang hadir juga dari sini Universitas Sutomo, boleh berdiri yang dari Universitas Sutomo mana? Oh, belum hadir ya. Baik, kalau begitu selanjutnya kami ingin menjelaskan bahwa acara UGen Summit ini merupakan kepanjangan dari United Generation yang merupakan sebuah program pengembangan pemuda untuk memberikan kesadaran akan pentingnya partisipasi dan keterlibatan pemuda melalui jaringan global untuk perdamaian dan pembangunan Indonesia, terutama dalam mewujudkan Indonesia Dream, Indonesia Emas 2045. Dan juga perlu kami sampaikan bahwa dalam rangkaian acara UGen Summit 2023 pada hari ini akan dibuka dengan penandatanganan MOU yang juga akan dilanjutkan dengan talk show interaktif yang setelah acara ini selesai nanti juga akan dilanjutkan dengan adanya focus group discussion sebagai bentuk follow up di setiap kampus yang berpartisipasi. Adapun acara ini diinisiasi oleh Global Peace Foundation Indonesia, sebuah organisasi non-profit yang mempromosikan nilai-nilai toleransi dan perdamaian dengan visi One Family Under God bersama-sama dengan Citra Institute Support Demokrasi, di mana Citra merupakan singkatan dari Civic Transformation, dan Citra Institute ini juga merupakan sebuah lembaga yang fokus mengawal proses rekonsiliasi demokrasi dan Indonesia. Baik, acara ini juga tentunya dapat terselenggara atas dukungan dari para sponsor, yaitu yang pertama PT Bank Negara Indonesia BNI, dan juga dari PT Jaminan Kredit Indonesia Jamkrindo. Boleh kita berikan tepuk tangan untuk para sponsor kita ya. Terima kasih sekali lagi pada para sponsor yang telah membantu terselenggaranya UGen Summit 2023. Dan juga Bapak Ibu sekalian, sebelum kita melanjutkan acara, perkenalan kami untuk membacakan secara garis besar rangkaian acara pada hari ini, yaitu acara akan dibuka sesaat lagi dengan doa bersama. Setelah itu akan dilanjutkan dengan bersama-sama menyanyikan lagu Indonesia Raya. Dilanjutkan dengan opening act tari saman dari adik-adik SMAN 3 Jakarta, sambutan-sambutan dari para inisiator acara, serta dilanjutkan lagi dengan penandatanganan MOU, dilanjutkan lagi dengan talk show interaktif, setelah itu akan dilanjutkan dengan bersama-sama menyanyikan lagu Bangun Pemudi Pemuda, dan setelah itu akan ditutup dengan acara foto bersama. Dan tidak lupa kami juga ingin memberitahukan kepada seluruh peserta ya bahwa kita juga ada giveaway dari sosial media challenge dengan cara follow Instagram dari para inisiator acara, yaitu yang pertama @GPF Indonesia dan akun sosial dia dari @Citra_Institute, dan kemudian silakan untuk foto-foto maupun video-video selama acara Summit 2023 ini ya, baik yang ada di dalam ruangan secara resmi maupun tadi mungkin ketika teman-teman masih ada di luar ya, boleh di-share dan jangan lupa di-mention juga dengan mencantumkan akun sosial media para inisiator ya, dengan mencantumkan hashtag Eugen Summit 2023. Dan ada bingkisan menarik dari para inisiator untuk teman-teman yang memposting foto dan video yang nanti akan diumumkan di sosial media dari para inisiator kita. Baik, Bapak Ibu sekalian dan juga para peserta Eugen Summit 2023, selanjutnya mengawali acara pada hari ini, kita akan berdoa bersama. Untuk itu kami mohon kesediaan kepada yang kami hormati, Ustadz Muhammad Jafar Edi Wijaya MA untuk berkenan memimpin doa bersama. Kami persilahkan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil alamin. Hamdan syakirin. Hamdan na'imin. Hamdan yuwafi ni'amayaka fi mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhikal karim wa azimi sultani. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammadin salatan tunjina biha min jamil ahwali wal afat wa taqdi lana biha jamil hajat wa tudahhiruna biha min jami sayyiat wa tarfa'una biha 'indaka a'la darajat وتبلغنا بها قصر الغايات من جامع الخيرات في الحياة وبعد الممات. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله وصحبه haqqa qadarihi wa miqdarihil aliyyil azim. Ya Allah yang maha pengasih dan maha penyayang, pada hari ini Selasa 17 Januari 2023 kami semua berkumpul di Auditorium Perpustakaan Nasional Jakarta Pusat. Kami menyelenggarakan kegiatan merefleksikan atau merenungkan nilai-nilai Pancasila di era modern untuk mewujudkan zaman keemasan Indonesia tahun 2045 dan kontribusinya bagi perdamaian dunia. Dengan memohon ridha dan izin-Mu, berkahilah semua langkah dan perbuatan kami, dan jadikanlah acara ini bernilai ibadah dan memberikan ilmu yang bermanfaat kepada kami. Ya Allah, jadikanlah kami yang hadir di tempat ini menjadi insan yang bermanfaat bagi masyarakat kami, Berikanlah kami kekuatan, kemampuan untuk mengikuti dan menjalankan petunjuk-Mu sebagaimana orang-orang soleh sebelum kami. Ya Allah, yang Maha Pemberi karunia, berilah kami karunia, bukalah pikiran kami, lancarkanlah lidah kami, dan mudahkanlah urusan kami untuk membangun bangsa ini dengan bimbingan dan ridha-Mu. Ya Allah, yang Maha Mengetahui yang gaib, bimbinglah kami dengan hidayah-Mu, berkahilah kami selalu dengan takdir-Mu, dan jadikanlah hati kami selalu ridha dengan pemberian-Mu. Ya Allah, Engkau yang Maha Pengampun atas segala dosa, ampunlah dosa kami, dosa orang tua kami, dosa para pemimpin kami, dosa para pejuang-Mu, dan dosa para pendahulu kami. Tempatkanlah kami dan mereka semua di dalam lindungan dan rahmat ampunan-Mu. Allahumma ja'al jam'ana hada jam'an marhuma, wa tafarruqana min ba'di tafarruqan ma'suma, wa la taj'al fina wa la minna saqiyan wa la mahruma. Allahumma aftah alaina hikmataka, wansur alaina rahmataka, wa dhakkirna ma nasina ya dal jalali wal ikram. Allahumma rzuqna fahman nabiyina wa hifdzal mursalina wa ilhamal malaikatil muqarrabina bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Rabbi israh li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Allahumma arinal haqqa haqqa warzuqna ittiba'ah wa arinal batila batila warzuqna ijtinabah. Allah Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hadirin yang kami hormati, acara selanjutnya menyanyikan lagu Indonesia Raya. Hadirin dimohon untuk berdiri. Hadirin dipersilahkan duduk kembali. Baiklah Bapak dan Ibu hadirin dan juga para peserta Eugen Summit 2023, beranjak ke acara selanjutnya akan bersama-sama kita saksikan sebuah tarian pembuka dari murid-murid adik-adik SMA Negeri Jakarta. Untuk itu kita berikan tepuk tangan kita yang paling meriah untuk penampilan tari Saman.
Assalamualaikum. Kami ucapkan ke Bandung Raka Jamin. Assalamualaikum Pak Intan Buli Ilun Mubri Salih Kuare lingkar Jamin karena salim Nabi kun sunah jarota mumat syarat mulia. Al-Fatihah, Al-Baqarah. Al-Adha, Yunus, Yusuf, Ara, Ibrahim. Amin Allah rumah amin. Allah berkaraman, Allah yang beri. Amin Allah rumah amin. Karaman Allah yang beri. Allah putengan yang hai kunengan mise handam ta cuma tika mumu musala putengan yang gonya kunengan mise. Hana dan kate yang adonya, upalakunya lekas kesalahan. Tiga sembahyang dengan puasa, putih dengan jago kunengan bisa. Jempa mira lelat basanggoy tanda hatelon adede hendanyo kegata. Langit bintang cerah de minggu mapade bulan hati kecu akak melelen asa ahlon dua ledang aduh di pantai dile teringat sampai ya budak. Melima mira ada dalam kereta luasa ada tekanan pada sama dalam kereta. Burak menari, burak menari. Membaca bungong, hai bungong, cabung bungong. Burak menari. Ada renggunang, Baca bungong, hai bungong, cabung bungong. Ane le dua. Jalan mana? Dalam gelanggang dua gelanggang sila jawali. Sampai saya mudah. Di tiga jaya Pancasila kalian ditulis. Saya melapeh burung Garuda. Aduh. Kaabe yang kamu hidang, kamu meriwang, hura kajula. Bencana umum, kebilang Tuhan.
Iya, kita berikan tepuk tangan sekali lagi Bapak dan Ibu sekalian untuk penampilan yang luar biasa dari adik-adik kita dari SMA N3 Jakarta. Baik, selanjutnya hadirin yang kami muliakan dan juga para peserta dari Ujian Summit 2023. Marilah sejenak akan bersama-sama kita dengarkan sambutan-sambutan dari para inisiator acara Ujian Summit 2023. Untuk sambutan yang pertama akan disampaikan oleh Citra Institute. Untuk itu kami persilahkan kepada yang kami hormati Bapak Dr. Heryono Tarjono SH MKN. Kami persilahkan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Ibu Dr. Venika Kristianto, Chairperson of GPF Indonesia. Mr. Inggilra, GPF Regional Representative of Asia Pacific. Bapak Yusak Farhan, Executive Director of Citra Institute, who was just appointed 5 days ago to be Dean of the Faculty of Social and Politics in Sutomo University Serang, Banten. So congratulations for Bapak Yusak Farhan. Bapak Ki Dr. Al-Azhar Agus, Rektor of Taman Siswa University of Palembang, South of Sumatra. Bapak Aulia Casanova and Bapak Dr. Ismail Marzuki, Vice Dean of the Faculty of Law and Postgraduate Director of Muhammadiyah, University of Tangerang. Bapak Koki Fuad Wasit Atmaja from Al-Azhar Indonesia University. Ibu Marisa Astika, Head of Partnership Affairs, Presiden University. Mas Muhammad Jawahir, Head of Digital Business Study Program, University of Insan, Cita, Indonesia. Bapak Fuad Hasan, Coordinator of the Outdoor School Education Study Program, Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, University of Jember. Ibu Rita Hastuti, Principal of SMAN 3 Jakarta. Distinguished speaker, my honorable brothers, Dr. Prosper Magucu from Frits University Amsterdam, Netherlands, and Mbak Inaya Wahid from the Jaringan Gus Durian. And a big welcome to both online and offline participants who have joined us. Students and participants, ladies and gentlemen, there are many special guests today. We saw that today's summit is indeed remarkable to all of us. That is why I need to mention our special guests one by one. So please be patient for a while, because actually, if I'm not wrong, my welcoming speech will be finished approximately on 1 hour. So, Bu Nizla, just relax and don't sleep. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2022, I met Inggilra 3 times. The first meeting was in Jakarta, the second meeting in Seoul, Korea, and the third meeting in Philippines. In this meeting, we discussed many things, including the role of Indonesia and Korea in maintaining peace in the future, as well as the dream of some Korea to become a unified nation once again like Indonesia. 3 questions arose in my mind during and after this meeting. The first one, what values can guide us to achieve the dream of Indonesia and Korea in the world? The second one, where can we find out and learn about those values? The third one, who will apply those values in reality? Today, ladies and gentlemen, 3 answers to these 3 questions are presented here. The first one is that we have the 5 principles of Pancasila as a universal value. The second one is that we have academics, and indeed, many of them are lecturers here, who are ready to provide an understanding and theoretical basis for Pancasila. We also have Mbak Inaya, who joined with us on Zoom meeting by online, who will share her experiences in relation to her effort on how to apply Pancasila values in our real life. And the third one, and I think this is the important things, here today we have university students young people, universal generation and united generation, who are expected to be able to become peacekeeper agents, who understand the noble value of Pancasila, for it is in their hands that the face of Indonesia and the world will be formed. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe our young generation will not only fulfill the golden era of Indonesia, but will also influence the future of the world. This became our background, and this is why Citra Institute and GPF Indonesia jointly initiated this summit. Citra Institute is also ready to oversee the follow-up agenda of this summit with academics from different universities joining to the event. We do hope that this summit, which is a small step for us, can provide a better future not only for Indonesia, but also for the world. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Eugene Summit 2023. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yes, thank you to Mr. Dr. Herino Tarjono SH MKN for delivering his welcoming remarks. Dan selanjutnya kami undang untuk dapat menyampaikan sambutan kepada yang kami hormati Chairperson Global Peace Foundation Indonesia, Ibu Dr. Anda Venika Kristianto SH MH MA MKN. Kami persilahkan.
Hi, after Dr. Harry use this microphone. Yeah, good afternoon, all of you. And I would like to give a greetings to our honorable guests and speakers, and also our beloved and lovely participants, all students and all lecturers coming from different universities. So first of all, I would like to welcome the regional representative of Global Peace Foundation Asia Pacific, which is Mr. Ingel Ra. Hello, Ingel. And the second one to the co-founder of Citra Institute, Bapak Dr. Heriono Tarjono. Then Executive Director Citra Institute, Bapak Yusa Farhan. Rektor University of Taman Siswa Palembang, Bapak Dr. Al-Azhar Agus, Dean of Faculty of Law, University of Muhammadiyah Tangerang, Ibu Dwi Nur Fauziah Ahmad, Director of Graduate Program, University of Muhammadiyah Tangerang, Bapak Dr. Ismail Marzuki, Dean of Faculty of Law, University Al-Azhar Indonesia, Bapak Dr. Yusuf Hidayat, Director of Graduate Program, University of Al-Azhar Indonesia, Bapak Dr. Foki Fuad, yeah, he's my friend. And then Director of Partnership, President University, Ibu Marisa Astika, Head of Digital Business Study Program, University of Insan, Cita, Indonesia, Bapak Muhammad Jawahir, Coordinator of Outdoor School Education Study Program, Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, University of Jember, Bapak Fuad Hasan, and Headmaster of SMA Negeri 3, Jakarta, Ibu Rita Hastuti. And also for the honorable speakers, Associate Professor at Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam, Mr. Dr. Prosper Maguchu, LLM. Hello. And then Gus Durian Networks or Movement, Ibu Inaya Wahid, and all above and all beloved students and participants. So thank you for coming today, and we can gathering because of Dr. Harry. Thank you, Dr. Harry, and also thank you for our sponsor, which is PT Bank Negara, Bank BNI, and also Jam Krindo, yeah, become our main sponsor for this event. Thank you once again. And hopefully, whatever that we can get from this event will be a benefit for all of us, actually for Indonesia and for the world. Yeah, I think GPF, what is the GPF? GPF is a Global Peace Foundation, which is an independent, non-profit, non-government organization, yeah, which is our headquarters is in the US. And our chair or founder actually is Dr. Preston Moon. And actually, GPF is not attached to any particular party, political party, or even religion, or even streams or sects. Yeah. So GPF promotes the innovative approach based on basic human values to build peace by the visions of one family under God, which is Dr. Harry already mentioned earlier in his speech. So in this case, why we have to base on the very basic values of humankind, which is actually that we know all of us needs to have the right to be eligible and to be equally treated by others. Yeah, so we focus on the fundamental human rights, and we believe that human rights is mandatory for all of us. Yeah, because it will give the value to all of us, especially that we can be treated equally. Yeah, before the law and before anything, of course, and before God. Yes, and then treating equally, it means that we have the freedom. In my opinion, freedom means that we have to be responsible because we have the choices. Once we choose whatever our choice, then we have to be responsible for whatever we already choose. Yeah, so freedom means responsibility. So I just want you, especially the students, yeah, you have to remind yourself that you have the freedom because you are far away from your home, from your parents, but it doesn't mean that you can do anything without responsibility. Yes, we know that Indonesia will experience a golden age in year 2024. And at that time coincide with the celebration of 1 century of Independence Day of Indonesia. Then we hope that Indonesia will become a developed country and has been aligned with the superpowers countries such as USA, China, Russia, and maybe other countries. Yeah, so that's why that's the Indonesian dream. So as Harry mentioned before, that yes, we have been invited as in South Korea last August 2022, and we try to share our Pancasila, yeah, and our philosophy, which is Indonesian Constitution, to the world. So we can use Pancasila as our tools, yeah, to promoting the peace and security, not just for Indonesia or for South Korea and North Korea, but also for the world. And especially nowadays, we know that we are in a war between Ukraine and Russia. Yes, Konstantin, you're coming from Russia, right? Okay. Yeah, so hopefully this moment will give the benefit for all of us. Yeah, and especially to promoting the peace and security for the world. Yeah, so it's historical moment still about a quarter away, yeah, a quarter of century away from now. But to make it happen, we have to take it serious. Why? Because Indonesian human resources must be superior in quality and character, especially you as the young generation. As earlier said by our MC, that Eugene, what is the Eugene stand for? Actually coming from United Generation. So we as a generation, any generation, we have to be united, no matter what. Yeah, especially if you are born in this world, yeah, you are responsible to have the freedom. Means that you are allowed to give the peace and security to all of us as the global citizen. So current undergraduate level university students right now in the average range of 20 years age, right? So it will give the very significant role. Why? Because in 2045, which is Indonesian golden age, yeah. So you will be settled with your career. You become a good or great or excellent professional in your area. So that moment will be the peak age of your professional career. And today's young generation is Indonesian human resources who will bring and determine the progress of Indonesia in the future, particularly and in general for the world. So that's why we hope that our generation now, yeah, and later on will be contribute the most for the better world in this world, yeah, in this earth, of course. Okay, so generation that have comprehensive intelligence, namely productive, innovative, peaceful in social interaction, and having strong character, healthy, and also attention and care about the friendly environment, which is nowadays we have to aware that our environment, our earth actually is sick. Yeah, we have to prepare, we have to maintain. Yeah, so we can use for long benefit. Yeah, it must be sustainable. So that's why it will related to the sustainability plan, yeah, which is after we signing the MOU this afternoon, yeah, between GPF, Citra, and other institution, then we will be followed up with the certain activities which is can be initiated by each university or institution who are participating in this event today. Yeah, and also you can disseminate all of this to anyone who are interested in this peace movement. Okay, and of course you will be it will be following, yeah, by each university by doing FGD and another seminar or maybe community service, yeah, because we are coming from the universities that we have to conduct the three dharma, which is not just the lessons in a class or outside of the class, but also we have to make this happen. Whatever the result from this event, we want to be put it and published in a journal, yeah, in a scientific journal. So I think it will be benefit for all of us because we are the academician and also for the students as well. And then last but not least, also we have to do the community service, yeah, not just directly related to the peace or security or democracy, but also will give the prosperity to Indonesia and to the world. Yeah, of course, coming from ourselves, yeah, as the individual first. Okay, so we hope these established collaborations will be sustained, yeah, not just today, but maybe will long lasting. And the collaboration will promoting the unity of Indonesian youth as well as giving the significant impact to the global youth and the world peace. This unification will give the domino and significant impact to the world. We may start from small. We start with the 5 institutions here and 2 initiators, which is GPF and Citra. But later on, we can multiply. And we depends on all of you who are attending today. Yeah, so please do work together and closely to make it happen. Then, as I mentioned earlier, yes, that fundamental human rights are the common base for all humankind. It means that every human has the rights to have a freedom, And in my opinion, freedom is about to be responsible with his activities and life activities. Pancasila, 5 principles as our philosophies and derived from our constitutions, is not just the way of life of Indonesia, but also can be applied for coping with conflicts. We know that so many conflicts in surrounding us, not just in Indonesia, but also in the world. So principle 1, actually, I just want to quote one principle because the speakers later on will talk about it more details and what is the relevance in the modern era, yeah, with the situation or with the global issues. So principle 1 is belief in one Almighty God as the creator. It means that we are all brothers and sisters because we came from the same source, no matter what our religion or our belief or our political party. Yeah. So first principle, in my opinion, is the foundations of the rest of the principles. Okay, I think that will be all. Hopefully, and also after giving this closing, also I would like to open our Eugene Summit 2023. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let's give our big round of applause for Ibu Dr. Venika Kristianto SH MH MA MKN for delivering her opening remarks and also officially open the Eugene Summit to 2023. Bapak Ibu sekalian, telah bersama-sama tadi kita dengarkan sambutan-sambutan dari para inisiator dan juga organizer dari kegiatan Eugene Summit 2023 dari Global Peace Foundation Indonesia dan juga dari Citra Institute dengan dukungan dari PT Bank Negara Indonesia BNI dan PT Jaminan Kredit Indonesia Jamkrindo. Boleh kita berikan tepuk tangan sekali lagi tentunya kepada para inisiator, organizer, dan juga para sponsor dari Eugene Summit 2023. Baik, beranjak ke acara selanjutnya akan bersama-sama kita saksikan penandatanganan MOU. Untuk itu kami mengundang kepada para perwakilan dari yang pertama Global Peace Foundation Indonesia dan juga yang kedua dari Citra Institute. Yang ketiga, perwakilan dari President University, serta perwakilan dari Pasca Sarjana Universitas Muhammadiyah Tangerang, dan juga yang kelima, perwakilan dari Fakultas Hukum Universitas Muhammadiyah Tangerang, dan juga yang keenam, perwakilan dari Universitas Insan Cita Indonesia, serta perwakilan dari Universitas Taman Siswa Palembang, dan juga dari Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan Universitas Jember. Kami persilahkan dengan hormat untuk dapat naik ke atas panggung. Dan kami persilahkan rekan-rekan dari tim panitia ya, dari panitia pelaksana kami persilahkan untuk dapat mendampingi, mengarahkan para perwakilan untuk dapat menuju ke atas panggung. Dan untuk penandatangan yang pertama akan dimulai dari perwakilan Global Peace Foundation Indonesia oleh Ibu Dr. Anda Venika Kristianto SH MH MA MKN dan dari Citra Institute yang diwakili oleh Bapak Yusuf Farhan. Kami persilahkan untuk dapat menandatangani dokumen yang telah tersedia. Kepada yang kami hormati Ibu Venika dan Bapak Yusuf kami persilahkan. Adapun momen penandatanganan MOU ini merupakan komitmen dari Global Peace Foundation Indonesia dan juga dari Citra Institute untuk melaksanakan rangkaian Eugene Summit yang akan dilanjutkan dengan forum group discussion nantinya untuk menggaungkan nilai-nilai Pancasila di kalangan akademisi dan generasi muda. Ya, masih satu lagi fotonya ya. Baik, berikutnya kami persilahkan kepada Ibu Venika dan Bapak Yusa untuk dapat terlebih dahulu berdiri di samping panggung ya. Dan selanjutnya kami akan mempersilahkan kepada yang pertama, perwakilan dari Presiden University yang akan diwakili oleh Ibu Marisa Astika, BSc MBA, dan juga perwakilan dari Pasca Sarjana Universitas Muhammadiyah Tangerang, Bapak Dr. Ismail Marzuki MPD, dan juga perwakilan dari Fakultas Hukum Universitas Muhammadiyah Tangerang yang akan diwakili oleh Bapak Dr. Aulia Hasanova SHMH, perwakilan dari Universitas Insan Cita Indonesia yang diwakili oleh Bapak Muhammad Jawahir SE MPA, dan juga dari perwakilan Universitas Taman Siswa Palembang Bapak Ki Dr. Azwar Agus SHM Hum, serta perwakilan dari Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan Universitas Jember Bapak Fuad Hasan SPD MPD. Kami persilahkan untuk menempati tempat yang sudah disiapkan ya. Dan selanjutnya kami persilakan kepada perwakilan-perwakilan dari universitas yang berpartisipasi untuk menandatangani dokumen yang telah tersedia. Bapak Ibu sekalian, adapun kerjasama dengan universitas-universitas yang berpartisipasi adalah bentuk komitmen dari Global Peace Foundation Indonesia dan juga dari Citra Institute serta universitas-universitas yang berpartisipasi untuk melaksanakan rangkaian UICI Summit yang akan dilanjutkan dengan fokus group discussion untuk menggaungkan nilai-nilai Pancasila di kalangan akademisi dan generasi muda. Baik, selanjutnya kami persilakan sekali lagi untuk rekan-rekan tim dokumentasi untuk mengabadikan momen ini. Ya, dan berikutnya Bapak Ibu sekalian, kami mengundang untuk dapat maju serta menerima kenang-kenangan kepada yang kami hormati Dekan Fakultas Hukum Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia atau yang mewakili, serta Kepala Program Studi Ilmu Pemerintahan Universitas Sutomo atau yang mewakili. Kami persilakan untuk jaga dapat turut maju ke atas panggung untuk menerima kenang-kenangan. Ya, sekali lagi kami persilahkan untuk yang mewakili Dekan Fakultas Hukum Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia atau yang juga mewakili Kepala Program Studi Ilmu Pemerintahan Universitas Sutomo atau yang mewakili, kami persilakan untuk dapat turut maju dan bergabung ya. Kami persilakan untuk dapat berpindah kepada perwakilan universitas-universitas untuk maju ke depan meja ya. Kita akan abadikan bersama-sama terlebih dahulu sebelum kita akan menyerahkan plakat kepada para perwakilan universitas-universitas yang berpartisipasi. Baik, dan selanjutnya akan kita saksikan penyerahan kenang-kenangan kepada para perwakilan. Untuk yang pertama, plakat akan diserahkan oleh Ibu Dr. Venika dan juga Bapak Dr. Heryono Tarjono. Untuk yang pertama, kami mohon kesediaan kepada Ibu Dr. Venika untuk memberikan kenang-kenangan kepada perwakilan dari Citra Institute. Berikutnya kami mohon kesediaan Ibu Dr. Fenika juga untuk dapat menyerahkan kenang-kenangan kepada perwakilan dari Pasca Sarjana Universitas Muhammadiyah Tangerang. Dan berikutnya kami mohon kesediaan Ibu Dr. Fenika untuk juga dapat menyerahkan kenang-kenangan kepada perwakilan dari Fakultas Hukum Universitas Muhammadiyah Tangerang. Dan selanjutnya kami mohon kesediaan kembali dari Ibu Dr. Fenika menyerahkan kenang-kenangan kepada perwakilan dari Universitas Insan Cita Indonesia. Dan berikutnya kami persilakan kembali Ibu Dr. Fenika menyerahkan tanda kenang-kenangan kepada perwakilan dari Universitas Taman Siswa Palembang. Baik, terima kasih Ibu Dr. Fenika, dan selanjutnya kami mohon kesediaan Bapak Dr. Heryono Tarjono untuk memberikan kenang-kenangan kepada perwakilan dari Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan Universitas Jember. Dan selanjutnya kami mohon kesediaan Bapak Heryono untuk juga memberikan tanda kenang-kenangan kepada perwakilan dari Fakultas Hukum Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia. Dan selanjutnya Bapak Heryono Tarjono juga akan kembali menyerahkan tanda kenang-kenangan kepada perwakilan dari Universitas Sutomo. Kami persilahkan. Dan selanjutnya Bapak Heryono Tarjono juga akan menyerahkan tanda kenang-kenangan kepada perwakilan dari Presiden University. Dan selanjutnya Bapak Heryono akan juga memberikan tanda kenang-kenangan kepada perwakilan dari SMAN 3 Jakarta, Ibu Rita Astuti MPD. Baik, selanjutnya kita akan berfoto bersama ya kepada Ibu Fenika, Bapak Heryono, ya kami mohon untuk dapat mengambil posisi di tengah-tengah diapit oleh para perwakilan dari universitas yang berpartisipasi ya. Dan mungkin yang sudah menerima tanda kenang-kenangan, maksud kami boleh dibuka ya, boleh dibuka plakatnya untuk diarahkan kepada juru kamera sebagai kenang-kenangan ya. Ya, ini karena yang foto ada menyebar, cukup menyebar, kita mungkin boleh kita supaya semuanya dapat foto yang bagus. Sekarang semuanya boleh melihat ke arah juru kamera yang di tengah terlebih dahulu ya, pandangan matanya ya. Ya, yang tengah dulu ya, silakan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, cukup ya Mas ya. Oke, sekarang kita semuanya sama-sama boleh menengok ke arah kanan pandangan matanya ya, supaya semuanya dapat foto yang bagus. Silahkan kita beri 5 detik ya. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ya. Iya, sekarang boleh sama-sama kita arahkan pandangan matanya ke arah para juru kamera yang ada di sebelah kiri. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boleh kita berikan tepuk tangan sekali lagi. Bapak Ibu sekalian, kami persilahkan kepada para inisiator dan juga para perwakilan untuk dapat kembali menempati tempat duduknya masing-masing kembali ya. Dan terima kasih sekali lagi waktu dan kesempatannya atas seluruh perwakilan yang telah berkenan untuk hadir di acara UGen Summit 2023. Bapak Ibu sekalian, alhamdulillah telah saksikan bersama-sama tadi penandatanganan MOU antara Global Peace Foundation bersama-sama dengan para perwakilan. Dan selanjutnya kita berikan terima kasih juga sekali lagi kepada para sponsor BNI dan Jam Krindo. Boleh kita berikan tepuk tangan sekali lagi Bapak Ibu sekalian. Let's give our biggest round of applause for Konstantin Kraskin. Thank you for your amazing piano performance, and let me also inform to all of you that Konstantin Kraskin will also perform as our moderator for today's talk show this afternoon. But before we continue to our next session, let me read the curriculum vitae for Konstantin first. He was born in Russia on 5th of May 1995, and he graduated from Moscow University, Moscow Institute of Electronic Technology, majoring in Foreign Languages Department. And recently, he is also teaching English in several institutions and also a translator. He really eager to learn about Indonesia and Pancasila. Let's give our biggest welcome once again for Konstantin, and Konstantin, the stage is all yours. Okay. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real pleasure to be here. I've been advised to be more informal and to maybe start with a joke, but considering my questionable sense of humor and stage fright, I decided not to do that. So we're going to go straight for the opening speech. Forgive me if my style is a bit dry. It's actually because I'm not very informal usually. So anyway, good afternoon. I'm very happy to see all of you here. It is indeed quite difficult for me to overestimate the importance of today's topic because it doesn't just relate to the past of Indonesia, but also, and most importantly, to its present and its future. So do you think we can achieve the Indonesian dream? If we can do so, what principles are we going to be guided by, and what can we do to make it happen? I hope we can leave this room with a clear vision of how we should proceed and how we should think about the future. And I'm pretty sure that we are going to be really inspired to do so by our distinguished speakers. So thank you very much for joining us today. Without further ado, let me introduce our first speaker, Dr. Foki Fuad. Would you please come up to the stage? Yes, let's give a round of applause for Dr. Foki Fuad. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Yes, would you please maybe sit, or okay, you can sit wherever you want. Yes, indeed. I'm sorry. Okay, and indeed, if I embarrass myself in any other way, please bear with me. Thank you for your patience. Indeed, we also have two speakers, actually three speakers, joining us online. Let's also give a round of applause for Dr. Prosper Maguchu, who is joining us from the Netherlands, where he works at Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam. So please give a round of applause for Dr. Maguchu. Okay. Also joining us is Sir Ingil Ra, who is the regional representative of the Global Peace Foundation for Asia Pacific. Please give a round of applause to him as well. Hello, Sir Ingil. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much. And indeed, I would like to welcome also Madam Inaya Wulandari Wahid Jaringan Kusturian, who is also joining us online. Unfortunately, not physically, but still, we are very happy to welcome you here. So please give a round of applause for Madam Wahid. Okay, thank you very much. Now let me invite to the stage also my the two people who are going to accompany me in this talk. Dr. Yusa Farhan, who is the executive director for Citra Institute. Give Sir Yusa also a round of applause, please. Thank you. Thank you. And also joining us on stage is Madam Fenica Cristianto, who is the chairperson for GPF Indonesia and who has also given an opening speech before. Please welcome her to the stage once again. Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's start our session. Let's start our talk. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Our first speaker is Dr. Foki Fuad, and I'm very happy to now give the word to him. He's going to talk about his perspective on the principles of Pancasila. And yes, the stage is all yours, Dr. Foki. Please tell us what you want to tell. Thank you. Good evening. I would like to give a little explanation about Pancasila. My topic today is Pancasila for the world peace. Pancasila, as we know together, as a philosophical system, not only speaks rationality as does European philosophy, but more focuses on the philosophy of metaphysics. As a philosophy of metaphysics, Pancasila itself focuses on divine ideas. That's why we call Pancasila is not just rationality. And not just divinity, Pancasila always have 5 basic values. The 5 basic values are divinity or belief in God, humanity, unity, democracy, and the last one is social justice. Let's talk about divinity. What is divinity? Or we can say beliefs in God. Divinity, it's become man's awareness of God, man's godly. Like we say that someone who put God in their soul. Awareness of God existence in every soul. Indonesian people realize that the dynamic movement they carry out cannot be separated from the influence of God Almighty power. That every movement of behavior as well as reason is always associated with the idea of divinity. This makes each individual act include God. Divinity means someone's that always connected with the God. We cannot separate it. And not just divinity, but divinity is always connected with humanity. Divinity and humanity in structures of philosophy, we can tell that both of them are ontology of the philosophy Pancasila. Humanity means that behavior and spirit of divinity is not exclusive, but rather intended for the good and usefulness for human being. The spirit of godliness must always be aimed at the benefit of human being. A godly man is a man who benefit his fellow man. Godly man always creates peace as well as peace for mankind. And then the third is unity, or we can say persatuan. Unity or persatuan means an awareness the importance of togetherness and unification of various differences that exist in Indonesia. So kita melihat bahwa Pancasila menyatukan kita. Pancasila makes us unity from because we have various differences, so many cultures, so many religions in Indonesia, that this is the important thing. That the diversity itself exists does not give rise to division, separatism, and exclusive attitudes. That cultural and religious diversity is reinforcement for the creation of a strong and united nation. The fourth is democracy. Means that everyone is aware of their own right and obligation, not just right, but also obligation. That democracy must be run with intelligence. Not just what do you want to do, but what do you have with your intelligence? That democracy must be run with intelligence and full of wisdom. That's democracy in Indonesia. Democracy is not just different for us. Democracy is how we accept differences intelligently and wisely. This is maybe a little unique of Indonesian democracy. The fifth last is social justice. Social justice is the aim of the Pancasila. The goal of the Pancasila is create the social justice system. Means that creation of justice can be felt by every Indonesian people, not just for the rich people, but all of the Indonesian people, that every practice and action that result in social inequality is very incompatible with the soul of Indonesian nation. So we see that democracy, social justice is the best way to mix Indonesian people. Pancasila in Indonesia is not just ideology, because if we put Pancasila in ideology, means that we put Pancasila in political things. But more than political things, Pancasila is a ground philosophy, the basic value, the basic ground of philosophy. So that's why we can say that with Pancasila at this time, Indonesian people as a country is able to survive with so many chaotic events, conflicts, and many more that not cause this country division, separate. We still together as a nation with Pancasila. Pancasila as a philosophical system has been able to unite the various differences that exist. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, because yeah, as you can see, I'm going to embarrass myself even more throughout the evening, so feel comfortable. Also, I forgot to introduce Dr. Foki. He graduated from Brawijaya University for his Bachelor of Law and Master of Law. He also got his PhD at Universitas Indonesia, and right now he is a lecturer at Universitas Al-Azhar in Jakarta. So thank you very much, Dr. Foki. Indeed, now I have a couple of questions, and the first one is, so we are talking about philosophy here, but let's say, because this is the philosophy as far as I understand, that we are still going to use practically, we are going to implement it. But imagine there is a person who says, no, we don't need these principles. Like, why would we need democracy? Democracy is boring and it's difficult, and we don't want to deal with that. So how can we make that person change their mind? How can we open their mind to these values, to these concepts? What would be your answer?
Actually, not all of Indonesian people understand Pancasila. If we don't understand about Pancasila, means that they neglect Pancasila? No, because Pancasila is not in our mind. Pancasila always, we do with Pancasila. As an example, divinity. Someone doesn't know about divinity. It's very easy to know that someone's understand that he doing Pancasila itself. I can ask him, kamu sholat tidak? Kamu beribadah tidak? It means that, are you going to the mosque? Are you pray to the God? Are you going to the are you preach to the God? Are you going to the mosque? Yes. So what are you doing is do the Pancasila. Pancasila not just in our mind. Pancasila is what are we doing every day. That's my question. That's my answers. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Okay. Indeed, I see. That makes a lot of sense. I suppose I would like to ask one more question about maybe a bit. Still, we're going to stay in the realm of philosophy here. I suppose the question that I have is, so philosophical concepts can evolve sometimes. Do you think that Pancasila can evolve somehow as a concept? Because my fear sometimes with philosophy is that concepts become stagnant, and we talk about them simply as mere symbols. How can we make sure that Pancasila stays alive, that it that it doesn't lose its significance for the Indonesian people?
Pancasila known as a symbol, Pancasila known as a ground philosophy since 1945. But President Sukarno, as the creator of Pancasila, told us that Pancasila is coming from the deepest culture of Indonesian people, not just coming from now, 1945, but Pancasila is stay in the heart, in their activities more than 1,000 years ago till now. So Pancasila at this time, even that Bung Karno named the philosophy is Pancasila, actually the people have done Pancasila more than 1,000 years. That's why I say that Pancasila not just ideology perspective, but more than that, Pancasila is a system of the philosophy in Indonesia.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Now I understand. It makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. To hear your talk. Now I would like to ask our other speakers, do you have any questions for Dr. Foki maybe? Not really? Not really. Okay, that's fine. Maybe the audience wants to ask something right now, but we will have a Q&A. Yes, sorry? Yes, Dr. Prosper. Yes, you're welcome. Yes, what is the question you would like to ask?
Thank you so much, and thank you so much, Foki. Foki is my role model, really. We have always been we have had an opportunity to work together before. My question now is, well, first of all, thank you very much. That's a very enlightening presentation. The values of Pancasila all equal? Do we have a hierarchy, or they all apply the same? That's my question.
Excuse me, could you please repeat, maybe?
Oh, yes. So the values, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. It's just lagging a little bit, but I think we can.
Oh, just delayed. Okay, fine. So my question is that are the values, the Pancasila 5 main principles values, are they all related, I mean, at the same level, or there is a hierarchy in terms of their significance?
If we talk about Pancasila, there's, in my opinion, Pancasila, we can say Pancasila with one thing. Pancasila is how we create is as a godly man. Even that in the different answers that Pancasila is not just the godly, how we create a godly man, but Pancasila is the point of Pancasila is unity. How can we strong together? What is gotong royong, Ibu, in English? Gotong royong in English. What is gotong royong in English? Communal. Yes. Pancasila is just communal. the point of Pancasila is communalism and the godly man. How create that we put the God into our hearts. That's why if we doing everything, always ask God, always think and ask God in our habitual daily. Thank you.
Okay, so excuse me, Dr. Falke. So would you say that divinity is the highest value in this case?
Yes, divinity
So
is highest value.
Okay, very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you for your question, Dr. Prosper. Okay, indeed, now our next speaker is Dr. Prosper, who is an assistant professor of law at University of Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam. And he is also a projects manager at the Center of International Cooperation. So thank you very much for joining us today. Could you please focus on your perspective with regards to Pancasila and your scientific standpoint? Yes, so please, we are very happy to hear you.
Thank you again, Constantine. And I hope that this time you can hear me without much delay. Is it okay?
Yes, yes, we can hear you. It's perfectly fine. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Wow. So again, it's a pleasure to be here today. And so for the benefit of my fellow panelists and the audience, two questions were put to me before coming here. So one was, how do the values of, I'll just put them loosely, by the way. This is not exactly how they were put to me, but this is how I understood the questions. But the first one is, how do we reconcile the values of Pancasila with international human rights? And also the second question was, which discipline, so we're talking about studies, so which discipline would fit very well with, or would be the most suitable to use as a teaching method to convey these important principles to future generations, let's say in universities, in schools. So which discipline would I recommend, or would I say that this is the most appropriate one to keep pushing forward the envelope of Pancasila principles? I will start with the first question. So with the issue of Pancasila and human rights. Oh, by the way, just then I close up. So with these two questions, the idea was to contribute or to the discourse on how these principles that we are talking about today can also contribute to, the realization of peace and the golden era of Indonesia. So I think now that we are at the same level of understanding, I will proceed to answer the first question. And Constantine, please remind me if you want me to repeat, or if I'm not being clear, just interrupt me at any time. It's okay.
Okay, thank you. No, everything is perfect. Yes, please carry on. We are all ears.
All right, cool. Yes. So with the issue of human rights, and I must begin by saying, just to give a little bit of sort of legitimacy to the responses that I'll give. First of all, I can say I can authoritatively, to an extent, of course, speak on Pancasila despite my African background and now being a teacher in Europe, which, as Forky has already pointed out, these distinguish very different ways in which, for instance, Europeans see things individualistic, yet Asians and also to an extent Africans actually almost similar. We view things in a communal way. So the principles of Pancasila, they are closely related to this African philosophy of Ubuntu, which can be loosely translated as a person is a person amongst others. So this principle of Ubuntu, in full, it's called Ubuntu, Ngubuntu, Ngabantu. So a person is a person amongst other persons, other individuals. You don't exist in a world of your own. these are really closely related to the principles of Pancasila if you look at all the 5 values that Foki has mentioned. And indeed attest to what the first speaker, the previous speaker has already mentioned, that humanity is just like one common family. So this is my understanding. So I'll take my understanding of Pancasila principles from my prior knowledge of Ubuntu. And now to the question of human rights. So if you look at all the 5 principles that have already been expurgated by Foki, the 5 principles of Pancasila, you can see that all of them, in fact, all of them, from the one that acknowledges God as the supreme deity to the final one on social justice, they fit very closely with the local application of human rights. And why did I emphasize on local application of human rights? Because human rights as a global agenda is under attack. If you look, for instance, at those traditional strongholds of human rights, those who started with this idea of international human rights, like the United States, United Kingdom, and others, human rights in those countries are deteriorating. Human rights are under attack as a global agenda. Another depressing example would be the United Kingdom, which has just suspended its Human Rights Act because they wanted to deal with asylum seekers faster than, and in that process, they were going to violate some of the principles of the European Human Rights Framework. So they decided to suspend the Human Rights Act in order for them to deal with the issue of asylum seekers faster. I'm bringing this point to show you that human rights need to be localized, and understanding the Pancasila principles or applying Pancasila principles to human rights in Indonesia can help to indigenize understanding of human rights. So we need to localize our understanding of human rights if human rights have to be successful. We need to move away from that idea of having a top-down approach, but you have a bottom-up approach. And the bottom-up approach can be promoted if we look at our first, we start at home, charity begins at home. First, we look at our own indigenous principles, and from there, we then apply them to the international context of human rights. So Pancasila principles, Pancasila values are very key in our understanding and in the respect, promotion of human rights in Indonesia. And this, of course, will also entail, promoting peace and, keep promote and contribute to the realization of the golden age that is just around the corner in Indonesia. I think, Quentin, I don't know if I should clear all the 2 questions, or should I then stop for now to allow other speakers, and then I can come back to the final question on which discipline I would recommend as the best one to apply the Pancasila principles. But for now, I think I've sort of done a little bit of justice to the issue of Pancasila principles and human rights. This is the best I could do in just 5 minutes. Otherwise, we can have a full lecture on this. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much indeed for your concise explanation. Yes, it deserves a round of applause. Really, thank you. Thank you very much indeed. I think that was brilliant because, and actually it just occurred to me right now that indeed the topic of human rights, it has to be localized and it has to be dealt with on the terms of the people we are speaking with. So that's a very valuable insight, I think, especially for me as well. Okay, I think actually we have a bit of time. So could you please just briefly say which discipline is most prospective in terms of promoting Pancasila and making it known to the world?
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, very quickly. So I studied my career as a human rights lawyer, by the way. So I'm a lawyer by profession, but also by practice. I tend to see law as the most appropriate discipline to deal with issues such as issues of social justice. But in this case, I would recommend a multidisciplinary approach. I think in this era, it will not be doing justice if we just prescribe to only one way of seeing things, if we just say, okay, this is the era of law, as was the era of economics and so forth. So a multidisciplinary approach it would be key in implementing or in further pushing the knowledge on the Pancasila principles. Of course, I think some other disciplines such as humanities, law itself, sociology, philosophy, and other related topics would help in pushing the values further. But then again, without prejudice, even to other disciplines. You asked a question to the previous speaker about the values, whether they are static or they're also evolving. Values, philosophical values like culture, they are not cast in stone. They also evolve, with the changes, with the modernization of Indonesia, of any community, we also have to adapt even our principles. And even you can see that other disciplines that may not have nothing to do with human rights, with philosophy at face value, like let's take technology, computer studies, they can also be very key in pushing the knowledges on Pancasila principles. So I tend to leave this very open and say that, let's try to see how we can mainstream these principles in every aspect, in every aspect of knowledges, be it humanities, philosophy, in technology studies everywhere. We can always try to see how do we mainstream the values so that we know, you push for a better community. I think that's it remains a little bit vague, but I'll still, in a nutshell, what I'm saying is that let's keep it open. Let's be open to apply these principles to every discipline. The same way Europeans apply Karl Marx theory or Max Weber to basically everything. If you come to a European university, whether you're studying medicine, you're studying law, technology, you still have to deal a little bit with Karl Marx or Max Weber. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. So here, the takeaway here is that Pancasila is a concept that requires interdisciplinary approach, and we should cherish this as one of the treasures of Indonesia. Okay, so thank you very much, Dr. Prosper. It's been a pleasure. Let's give a round of applause for Dr. Prosper and his contribution to our discussion. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Sir Ingil Ra, who is a regional representative of GPF for Asia Pacific. We are very happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Ingil Ra, he has traveled extensively. He attained 4 degrees in Korea and the US, and right now he keeps traveling in his capacity as a regional representative of Asia Pacific for GPF. Thank you very much again for joining us, Sir Ingil Ra. Please tell us about your perspective on Pancasila. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Special thanks to inviting me in this very significant summit after Penieka Cristiano, Dr. Hedi Ono, Dr. Jono. Good afternoon, all the distinguished speakers and moderator, professors and students. I'm here to share a dream with you before I begin, because you are, I understand, 200 young people and the faculty members. Do you want to hear about the small dream, or do you want to hear about the big dream? Actually, it is not connected with the speaker, so I cannot hear your answer. Maybe moderator, you can convey the atmosphere there.
Excuse me, do you mean that do you offer us a choice between a big dream and a small dream?
Yes.
Okay, I suppose let's have both. Why not both? I think that would make sense. Let's start with the small dream. What would that be?
Okay, I'm actually want to encourage you to have a big dream. Well, let us begin. Let us be philosophical in terms of analyzing human history. Today, in the 21st century, we have received a tremendous blessing and grace that we know that what freedom, and we know what human rights looks like. But throughout the vast course of the human history, humanity never understood and realized those ideas. Those ideas came to fruition because a nation was formed that championed those ideas, not only in the 20th century, but well into the 21st century. You know, I was born in Korea. I'm Korean, right after the Korean War. Korean War totally destroyed entire country. I remember growing up in poverty, where the ability to eat any kind of protein was a luxury that only a few families could share. Yet, in such a short period of time, the world has changed a lot. And then you have now young people from Korea igniting K-pop and K-drama, Hallyu. Who's to say in 20 or 30 years from now that there will be Indonesians that will be inspiring the world with a vision of a Pancasila that you wanted to discuss today? That is why I'm planting the seeds in you, big dream, not small dream, young people. I want you to dream, and I want you to dream the greatest dream of all. You know, many times I say the quote of the Genghis Khan in Mongolia, 30th century. He said, if one person has a dream, it is about a dream. But if all of you in this auditorium shares in that dream, the dream becomes a reality. Now, as I said, the concept of freedom and human rights is a new modern phenomenon. Let me share with you where those ideas arose. This idea came from the nation that has been successfully united as a good example of human history. Since my country, Korea, is divided into two, so we try to make this country united. So, do you know what country is that? The nation is, do you know what country is that?
Sorry, so we have a little bit of a problem with connection, I suppose. Your question is, which country has been able to successfully unite its people, correct?
Yes, in the history of in the human history. Which country is that?
Yes, well, I suppose you should mean Indonesia in this case.
Well, no.
No, okay. Well, that was okay.
Okay, so that country is none other than United States of America. Through the United States of America 200 years ago, it was 13 states. And then there are all the skins of colors are different, and then their languages was different, and their religion was different. Through the Enlightenment and eventually culminating with the ideas that formed the United States of the America, the most important document of that nation is Declaration of Independence. And many times in speeches all around the world, I share how significant this document is. I believe that the most significant document, not only for the nation of America, but for humanity itself, is in the Declaration. It stated that in the Creator, meaning God, that gives us our sacred fundamental freedoms and human rights, the right to life, the right to liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This immortal words in this immortal document is the basis upon which we today recognize and celebrate, although imperfectly in many nations. But celebrate the ideals of freedom and fundamental human rights. So we must ask ourselves, especially with the backdrop of the world in which we live today, where you have statist nations on the rise that basically are breaching those very freedoms and rights, even of their own citizens, we have to ask ourselves a question. Where do these rights come from? It comes from the sovereignty of God. It comes from the fact that God, from the very beginning of the human history, had bestowed upon humanity as a special gift, a gift to co-create with Him an ideal world and kingdom where He can dwell within the human family. Once we align to that original ideal purpose, then all blessings, regardless of your religious traditions, that God wanted to give to humanity, beyond all of our pretensions, whether they be religion, national, ethnic, or racial, as one family under God. We could celebrate the blessings that He wanted to bestow upon us. For you, Indonesian, if you are inspired to dream and be an owner of that dream within one generation, can bring about fundamental change, not only within your nation, but within the region and the world. So do you want?
Excuse me, I'm afraid there's a connection failure.
Do that, or do you think? Do you want to be the owner of? In other words, do you want to be the owners of the Pancasila? Yes or no?
I'm sorry, could you please repeat your last question? We've had some lagging in Zoom, so could you please repeat your question?
My question is, do you want it to be owners of Pancasila? Yes or no?
Ownership. Okay, so the audience, do you want to take ownership of Pancasila? Yes or no? Okay,
yes.
that's great. That's great indeed. It's a,
Okay,
it's a very motivational message that really kind of resonates.
No, I didn't finish. Let me continue. As we stand in this beautiful land of the Indonesia, the archipelago of Asia, we are bringing birth to a vision of hope rooted in the dream of one family. And I believe that this is one of the core values of the Pancasila. And every single one of you being the owners of that dream can be like the dandelions that spread across this land, spread across Asia Pacific into the rest of the world. So just several months before, together with Dr. Fenica Cristiano here today and Dr. Hediono, had a huge monumental event in Korea last August, where heads of the thousands and most prestigious NGOs rose up together, gathered in 20,000, filling the largest indoor arena in Korea. And there they pledged to take ownership of Korean Dream. Just before the professor said, Ubuntu in Africa, we have a similar idea of the Pancasila, which is 홍익인간, to build a nation that benefit to the rest of the world. We said Korean Dream. They are rooted in the vision of one family under God to unite Korean Peninsula to what every major power couldn't do, inspiring the people themselves, not the government, not the president, but the people to rise up, sharing the greatest dream of all, one family under God, the Korean Dream, to unite Korean Peninsula based upon the destiny of the Korean people, rooted in our providential founding. 홍익인간 is something like a Pancasila in Korea, which basically directed the Korean people to create an ideal nation that can be a benefit to all humankind. And then also just last month of December, with Dr. Ibu, Musudang, Mulia, Dr. Herio, and many others, and also another monumental event in Philippines, where all also heads of the thousands of prestigious educational network rose up together, gathered 15,000 young people, filled the valley of the clock in Philippines, and they also pledged to take ownership of the Filipino dream rooted in the vision of the one family under God to build and transform the Philippines and to what every major power couldn't do, inspiring the people themselves. Filipinos also have a similar idea of the Pancasila. They say, Maka Dios, which is love God, Maka Tao, love people, Maka Kalikasan, love nature, and Maka Bangsa, love your country. So what will be the dream of Indonesia? What is the Indonesian dream that connecting with the Korean dream, that connecting with the Filipino dream? We know that Pancasila contains 5 principles that explain the concept of divinity, humanity, unity, democracy, and justice. To preserve global peace, Pancasila can serve as a model of examining the meaning of peace in the international communities. And in addition, like a professor, in the first speaker of the professor mentioned, the connotation of gotong royong, which is also derived from the Pancasila, is extremely significant to the concept of international peace. We need other people to survive as a social beings. Thus, we must work together for peace to create better world. That's why I want to promote World Korea Global Campaign as a free and unified group. Korea is a peninsula nation. Indonesia is an island nation. Indonesia is the largest archipelago in the world. It contains, if I'm correct, 5 major islands and then about many small groups. The islands are located at a crossroad between 2 oceans, Pacific and Indian Oceans, and the status 2 continents, Asia and Australia. So Korea and Indonesia are 2 nations linked with this profound philosophy of Pancasila and Hongik Ingan at the gateway to Asia and the world. It basically ties this region to the north and south. So what happens here in Korea and Indonesia will move to all over Asia. So do you want to stand with the Korean people? Do you want to stand with the Korean people based upon Korean dream and help unify the Korean peninsula? Yes or no? So if we have tens of thousands, tens of millions of Koreans on the street to support Korean dream, and the tens of thousands of millions of the Indonesians to street to support Indonesia dreams, then we can really move not only the Indonesia, Korea, but also, the Asia and the world. And then, you don't know how much I want to be there in Indonesia, and then sitting with you, and then yelling and screaming, responding the professor's questions
Yes.
as an honor.
Excuse me, I'm afraid we are running out of time a little bit. Thank you so much for your talk. Indeed, it is a wonderful motivational message for the young people of Indonesia. And yeah, do we want? Yes. Yes, I was going. I am going to mention that exactly. So, in this message, you indeed want us, and you want the Indonesian people, the Indonesian youth, to stand with Korea. And this is the question for the audience: are we ready to stand with Korea for unification and indeed the world? Are we ready to help the world learn from the values of Pancasila? Yes, wonderful, wonderful indeed. That is a beautiful message that I think we should promote as much as possible. So thank you very much, Sir Ingilra, for presenting it to us. Thank you for raising our awareness of this for this issue. And indeed, it deserves a round of applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to have you here. So our next speaker, our last speaker is going to be Ms. Inayah Wulandari Wahid, Jaringan Gusturian. She is a human rights activist. She is an actress. She's a TV show host, and she is the daughter of the former president of Indonesia, Gus Dur. So thank you very much for joining us today. Ms. Wahid, it's a pleasure to have you. Could you please elaborate on your perspective in terms of how young people can help promote Pancasila?
Hi, Constantine. Hi, everyone. Whether it's in the Perpusnas and the others from all over the world, it's very nice to see you guys. Constantine, thank you for addressing me as Miss Wahid finally, because you kept calling me Madam Wahid. I thought that you actually trying to call my mother because Madam Wahid is my mother. It's okay if you want her to talk too. She's great on talking about this kind of things also. So thank you for having me here. So I was intriguing by Constantine when he was saying that democracy is something that is very boring. Yeah, and sometimes like things like Pancasila and everything could be so boring, could be so serious. So I'm not going to enter those part because I mean, Pak Focus had been breaking down and enlightening us about Pancasila very thoroughly. Thank you, Pak. It's very enlightening. And everyone else has been talking about Pancasila and their correlation with their own principles and values and philosophy in their own countries, which is very not only enlightening but also inspiring. And it's, I mean, the question remains: are we ready to make it as something as a unification? But just like what Constantine said, one of the things that I kept getting asking about is how to make Pancasila as something that, you know, the young people will do, and how to bring us back to Pancasila, like as if we actually really living Pancasila, but we're actually not. It's there. It's the basis of this country, and talking about how the youth could bring, how the young people could bring more Pancasila values into the real world is, well, for me, Pancasila, even though it is a principles, it is a values, it is philosophy, it is not a magic potion. Every country has it. Every country have it. Mr. Ingra have talked about, they call it he shared in the chat. He said that there's a Ubuntu in Africa, and there's Makatios, Makatao, Makakalikasan, and Makabanga in Philippines. In India, there's Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and in Korea itself, it's Hongik Ingan. So actually, it is not something that, you know, foreign and something grandiose. It is actually something very mundane and daily lives. And then that's what Pancasila is all about. It's actually not something big. It's actually something that the action that you take on everyday's life in day-to-day basis. It's the decision you take every single time. Whether, let's say, you want to keep the perspective of democracy, for instance, or do you choose to do violence, for instance, or not doing the violence? That action will, you know, will determine whether you're following a Pancasila or not. If you choose not doing the violence, then you're on the correct path. You're on the Pancasila way. That's the when you judge someone based on their identity, or when you decide not to do that anymore, that's Pancasila. That's the value of Pancasila. Saying that I'll be open. I will not discriminate my friends anymore based on their identity. I'm just gonna discriminate my friends based on their ranks on their games. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Based on, I'm not going to discriminate my friends anymore based on their identity. Then we're following the Pancasila values. That is an everyday and day-to-day action that you need to take. It's not something grandiose. It's not something big. We're talking about Pancasila right now, but we're only talking about Pancasila. But the way to live it is there when we go out. So the way to keep Pancasila is, there are so many things that you can do to keep Pancasila alive. But I will be talking about two things that I thought at this time will be on my priority list. One is to keep the democracy alive and in good shape. When Constantine said that democracy is boring, well, this country is built by diversity. At that time, when the democracy, when this country was built by our founding fathers and mothers, we're all different. In Indonesia, are all different. I mean, for instance, my grandfather was representing the Muslim society at that time. He could have chose to make this country based on Islamic value. It's easy because they are the majority at that time. It will be easy for him to do the lobby and everything. But they didn't do that because they understand exactly that having different identity, we need to we need to be in unity. And to unify all of the differences, all of the diversities, are democracy. The exact shape of Pancasila. So that's what we have. By that, I mean, if democracy is something that's been built by our founding fathers and founding mothers, that means that Pancasila is something that could be taken up too. It's something could be destroyed. It's something could be, democracy could be something that, no longer here. And that would be bad. So we cannot take that for granted. No matter how boring it is, how mundane it is, we need to keep the democracy alive. So that's the way, I mean, we might not have the best democracy. I mean, Indonesia might not have the best democracy in the world right now, obviously, but that's the best thing that we have right now. That's the best thing that could advocate all the diversities that we have. So what we can do is keep the democracy alive and in good shape too. Meaning that I agree fully with Mr. Simbarashi. It's all about human rights. One of the things to keep the democracy alive is to make sure that the human rights is fully implemented in day-to-day, in everyday life, in everyone, in every citizen's life. That's what we could do. And the second thing is, I mean, there is no time that we need more than right now to collaborate. Collaboration. We are on the brink of crisis, every crisis that we can think of. Well, health crisis, climate crisis, economical crisis. And there is no way we could survive all this without collaboration. And when we're talking about collaboration, the key fundamental things, that the key ingredients that we need to have is values and principles. That is Pancasila, that is Ubuntu, that is other things that we've said with different names, but actually are the same. So my point right now is, I mean, Pancasila actually a set of values, the principles, philosophy, meaning that it is not a magic potion. It's actually a frame, a perspective. I mean, once we got the perspective, we can be anything and still with that perspective. I mean, the young people, guys, you can be whatever you want. You can be president, you can be lawyer, you can be, I don't know, OnlyFans artists. I'm just kidding, rappers or anything, and have the perspective. I mean, if you are a president, then your policies will be based on that values. If you are rappers, then your songs will be based on that values. So as long as you're wearing that perspective, you're wearing that glasses, we're on the right track. That's all I can say. That's all I can say when we're talking about the young people. That's all we need to do. So keep the democracy alive and in good shape, and collaboration. Hopefully we will survive all this crisis, and not just survive, we thrive as a nation, as one God under nation. One nation under God, I mean, I'm sorry. One nation under God. So no matter our diversity, I mean, look at us today. I mean, if you're not having the same set of values right now, how different we are. I mean, look at us. But since we are having the same set of values, we having the similar perspective, then here we are, collaborating. As a GPF family members, I mean, our what do you call it? Our I don't know, the relationship between my fathers and the other GPF family members and Dr. Moon, for example, we could see that they've been doing it. All we have to do is following their footsteps, following it. That's all.
Okay.
And
Thank you. Yeah,
Constantine, that's
excuse
all I
me.
can say
I'm
right
afraid
now.
we're running out of time again because I'm a bad moderator. Thank you very much. Indeed, I'm very, thank you for your wonderful message to the young people of Indonesia. Indeed, I'm very happy it was a pleasure to hear your speech. Just in my defense, when I said that democracy was boring, I didn't mean that it was boring to me personally. I was talking about just someone else, not me. No,
No worries, Constantine, no worries.
Constantine, you're not wrong entirely. Look at popularism is gaining popularity around the world because democracy sounds boring to many. That's why these opportunists are becoming so popular. You look at what was happening in Brazil, in the United States, and some other European countries, Hungary, where popularism is sort of taken over the space that used to be occupied by democracy, because it is boring to others, but as Ms. Swahili just reiterated here, we need to walk the talk. Let's just keep pushing it, you know. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. This is, I suppose, one of the main messages that we need to take away from today's event. We need to keep democracy alive and well. So thank you very much to our speakers. Now it's we have a couple of we are going to have a couple of questions from the audience. And two people who are going to ask the questions, they're going to receive some gifts from the committee. So yes, please, dear audience, if you have any questions for yes, please raise your hand. Okay, now you please, lady. Oh, okay. And I've just been told that you can ask the question in Indonesian, which will make me not understand you, but it's okay. So, yes, please, madam. Okay, yeah. The madam in the black hijab, please. Yes. I suppose, are there any microphones there? Okay, probably not. Not really? Not really? Okay, I'm just going to give you the microphone. Okay. There is a microphone. Okay. Okay, that is one. Really? Sorry. Yes, this lady, please. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, yes, please. Okay, yes, I think it's easier if actually everyone who wants to ask a question, please come up here to the stage, and we're going to pass you the microphones.
Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Fitri. I'm from President University. So we are talking about Pancasila today, which is, you guys already mentioned that it's kind of boring because I study about Pancasila from elementary school until high school, and the university I study about Pancasila again. So yeah, that's why I'm studying about Pancasila from elementary school until I'm high school, until I'm university student. So my question is, it's focused on young people to understand the meaning, the exactly meaning about Pancasila. So I want to know what the challenge on the young people to understand Pancasila itself, because I have a lot of friends from different belief, from different religion, but we still a friend. Because why? Because it's Pancasila. So what the challenge from us as a young people to understand the Pancasila itself as our daily life, and what we should do about that? I think that's all. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Now, who is going to answer it? Who would like to answer it? Yes? Second question. Okay. Okay, let's have the second question then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the time given to me. First of all, I'd like to give thanks and appreciate for the wonderful insight that delivered by the speakers today. And I'm just point out about one point that Mr. Faut said before, that today we still live as a nation. That is just an ideal condition that we all have the dream about it. But as we see in the practice, there are so many practices of intolerance, conflict, or any kind of form of radicalism. And in my perception and opinion, maybe this is just because of the crisis of empowering the society. Atau di dalam bahasa Indonesia saya sampaikan bahwa ini mungkin tadi karena kurangnya pemberdayaan masyarakat. And in the context of empowering the society, it's not just about in the cognitive aspect, but in the religious practice. Because when we are talking about the Pancasila, it's not about in the aspect of discussion, but how we beyond it in the reality practice. Alias, jika saya terjemahkan bahwa mendiskusikan Pancasila bukan hanya pada tataran diskusi ataupun level-level seperti ini, tapi bagaimana kemudian menyeberangkannya ke dalam realitas. And it must be the communal work together, because I think this is the global challenges and also in the context of Indonesia. Jadi that become my question is, what actually maybe the brief solution or the logic that how we must perceive or place the concept of the good of Pancasila in every human, so we can get the ideal perspective about the Pancasila and how we eradicate about the practice of intolerance. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your question. So I suppose, yes, there's another question. The third question. Okay. Yes, sure.
Oke, sorry kalau misalnya saya nggak pakai bahasa Inggris. Pertanyaan saya mudah saja karena menurut saya itu saya sebagai mahasiswa menjadi salah satu garda terdepan dalam pembentukan manusia yang penuh dengan kualitas unggul, inovatif, dan berakhlak mulia sesuai dengan karakter Pancasila yang sudah seperti tadi dibahas. Pertanyaan saya, karena karakter Pancasila ini kan adaptif terhadap tantangan perubahan global. Jadi pasti ada tantangannya. Pertanyaan saya, mahasiswa yang seperti apa yang dapat menjadi calon SDM berkualitas dan sesuai dengan karakter Pancasila menurut perkembangan zaman sekarang?
Okay.
Itu saja. Terima kasih.
Thank you. Thank you. Not really, I'm afraid. So would you like to answer the question? Yeah. Okay, so who is going to answer the, okay, let's start with the last question maybe, because that's the one I didn't understand. Who would like to answer it? Dr. Falke, maybe?
Okay, I think you can address this question, answer to someone. I think the second person, yeah, because this goes to Dr. Falke.
Aplikasi dari tolerance. In my opinion, Pancasila should adopt that Pancasila. Why we always boring about Pancasila? Because we put Pancasila in ideology term. We don't use Pancasila in philosophical way. This is my opinion. There is a lot of what we call indoctrination during in political ways. So if we are not compatible with those regime maybe, and means that you are not Pancasila peoples. So in my opinion, we have to change our mind how to see the Pancasila itself. Pancasila is not just in ideological ways. We put Pancasila in the daily basis, in daily habit. Are we do the Pancasila every day? Maybe yes. Why? You go, I always say, you go to the mosque, you pray every day. That is Pancasila, the Pancasila ways. You pray to the God, you are going to the church. You have done the Pancasila way. That is my opinion. So Pancasila is not just indoctrination. Pancasila is not just a political way. Pancasila is in our heart deeply. That's my answer.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Falke. Yes, you would like to add something?
Yeah, I just want to add a bit. Yeah, I think that Dr. Falke tried to mention, to give the answer. Yes, Pancasila is not just the theories or the philosophy. I agree with Inaya, but actually Pancasila is a way of life, because in a daily basis, we are going to do it to apply what Pancasila tried to give us the direction. And it means that I know that you say that, Pitri, since you are in a elementary school until now, you are a college students, that you have learned about Pancasila. Yes, because why? I think it has to be convinced, yeah, and reconfirm, yeah, to anybody who are living in Indonesia, not just for the Indonesian people, but also I think we can contribute these principles to the world, not just to Asia Pacific, as Ingel Rase, but also to the world. And also why and how? I think we have to internalize those principles, yeah, Pancasila principles, internalize So that's why Dr. Foki said that you have to keep it in your heart. You have to understand. You have the insight. And also Inaya said that inspiring us, okay, to conduct and to behave. And we try to apply in our daily life, yeah, in our attitude. So that's why it's become our belief. Once you internalize, you understand, and then you internalize, maybe you don't really understand, but I think that's become the habit, yeah, eventually. So that's why this is the way that we have to hold this Pancasila. Okay, maybe Inaya and Ingira or also Prosper, you want to add more for this answer?
I'm afraid we are out of time. Thank you very much indeed. We haven't, I mean, there are quite some crucial insights, which now these are my closing remarks for today. There were some crucial insights that I really encourage you to explore more on during the follow-up activities at your campuses, which are going to be held at your university. So please do that. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for bearing with me and my embarrassment, and thank you for your patience. And democracy is not boring. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, now let me give it to Master of Ceremonies, who is going to wrap up our today's conversation. Thank you.
Yes, let's give our warmest, biggest round of applause once again for all our speakers and also our moderator. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, sharing your expertise and also insight to all of us. And also, hopefully what has been presented can be useful for all of us. Baik Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, semoga apa yang telah disampaikan oleh para narasumber dan juga moderator kita dapat memberikan kita pengetahuan baru yang dapat kita terapkan dalam kehidupan kita sehari-hari. Baiklah, selanjutnya kita akan menyerahkan plakat sebagai ucapan terima kasih kepada narasumber dan juga moderator kita. Untuk itu kami mohon kesediaan Bapak Yusa Farhan MSI selaku Executive Director dari Citra Institute untuk berkenan menyerahkan plakat yang pertama kepada narasumber kita, Bapak Dr. Foki Fuad SHM Hum. Kami persilahkan Bapak Yusa dan juga Bapak Foki untuk dapat maju ya. Kami persilahkan. Ya, boleh kita berikan tepuk tangan sekali lagi. Bapak Yusa mohon masih tetap berada di depan Bapak ya. And also next we would like to present our token of appreciation to our moderator, Konstantin Kroshkin. Ya, kita berikan tepuk tangan sekali lagi. One more our big round of applause to all our speakers and also to our moderator, Bapak Dr. Foki Fuad SHM Hum dan juga para narasumber yang lain, Bapak Mr. Dr. Prosper Magucu LLM, also to Mr. Inggilra and also to Ibu Inaya Wahid and of course our moderator Konstantin Kroshkin. Kita berikan tepuk tangan sekali lagi dan kami persilahkan kepada para narasumber dan juga moderator untuk dapat kembali bergabung bersama dengan peserta dan tamu undangan yang lain. Terima kasih sekali lagi Bapak Ibu sekalian. Baik, demikianlah tadi telah bersama-sama ya kita saksikan sebuah talk show yang sangat luar biasa dari para narasumber kita. Dan juga sekali lagi kami ingin mengingatkan ya kepada seluruh peserta ya untuk giveaway masih kita tunggu ya, masih kami persilahkan untuk diposting sekali lagi untuk foto-foto maupun video-video yang telah diambil selama acara UGen Summit 2023 pada hari ini. Silahkan sekali lagi untuk di follow terlebih dahulu. Namun sebelumnya ya, akun sosial media dari @GPF Indonesia dan juga akun sosial media dari @Citra_Institute. Kemudian silahkan saya lagi di-share foto dan video kegiatan hari ini dengan mention akun sosial media. Maaf ini saya dari tadi ternyata baru sadar saya masih pakai masker ternyata ya. Boleh. Iya. Lebih ganteng kan ya gitu. Oke, dan jangan lupa sekali lagi untuk di posting foto dan videonya, di mention akun sosial media dari para inisiator sekali lagi @GPF Indonesia dan juga @Citra_Institute, serta dengan dicantumkan juga hashtag UGen Summit 2023, dan nanti akan ada bingkisan menarik bagi pemenang terpilih yang akan diumumkan melalui sosial media. Oke, sekali lagi ini kayaknya biasanya kalau jam-jam segini setelah seminar, setelah talk show ini jam-jam rawan ya, mata mulai berat minta nutup ya. Saya mau dong, mana nih suaranya dari Universitas Muhammadiyah Tangerang, mana suaranya? Dan mana nih suaranya dari Universitas Insan Cita Indonesia? Dan juga dari Presiden University, mana suaranya? Oh, ini paling banyak ya rombongannya. Dan juga dari Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia. Oke, luar biasa, masih semangat semua ya. Oke, supaya kita lebih semangat, supaya kita nggak ngantuk ya, supaya kita lebih semangat para generasi muda ya. Dan ini dari tadi mungkin dari awal acara sudah ada bendera merah putih ya yang diselipkan di setiap kursi. Mungkin sekarang boleh diambil, boleh kita sama-sama berdiri dan kita akan nyanyikan bersama-sama lagu Bangun Pemudi Pemuda. Ya, boleh berdiri semuanya ya teman-teman peserta ya. Pemudi-pemuda Indonesia, dan bajumu sing-singkan untuk negara, akan datang kewajibanmu lah menjadi tanggunganmu terhadap nusa, tanggunganmu terhadap nusa. Jadi tetap berusaha, jujur dan ikhlas, tak usah banyak bicara, terus kerja keras, hati teguh dan lugas jernih, tingkah laku halus, hai putra negeri. Oke, boleh tepuk tangan sekali lagi untuk kita semua ya, untuk tamu-tamu dan juga untuk tentunya seluruh peserta UGen Summit 2023 yang luar biasa ya. Dan akhirnya tibalah kita pada sesi terakhir acara UGen Summit 2023 pada siang hari ini. Dan kami sekali lagi mengucapkan terima kasih. Banyak terima kasih kepada Bapak Ibu dan juga sahabat-sahabat teman-teman peserta yang sudah hadir di Auditorium Perpustakaan Nasional maupun yang turut mengikuti acara Ujian Summit 2023 ini secara online atau secara daring hingga akhir acara. Dan kami juga sekali lagi mengucapkan terima kasih kepada para sponsor yang sudah membantu terselenggaranya acara Ujian Summit 2023, PT Bank Negara Indonesia BNI dan juga PT Jaminan Kredit Indonesia Jamkrindo. Boleh tepuk tangan sekali lagi untuk para sponsor kita ya. Dan kami informasikan juga sekali lagi peserta jangan lupa untuk posting giveaway dari sosial media, jangan lupa juga sekali lagi di mention ya @GPF Indonesia dan juga @Citra_Institute ya. Kita sudah tayangkan ini sekarang cara-caranya gimana, dan nanti juga akan ada hadiah menarik bagi pemenang terpilih yang akan diumumkan melalui sosial media. Teman-teman juga kita undang ya untuk bisa mengikuti acara Global Peace Leadership Conference di India pada tanggal 11 sampai 13 April 2023 ya. Untuk informasi selengkapnya dapat melihat layar berikut ini. Dan selanjutnya teman-teman, kita mohon juga kesediaannya untuk mengisi feedback form ya pada link barcode yang tertera di layar. Silakan teman-teman ya, boleh di-scan langsung barcode-nya. Dan silakan juga untuk langsung diisi sekarang juga ya. Bagi yang sudah scan boleh langsung diisi feedback formnya, dan nanti juga akan mendapatkan e-sertifikat acara Ujian Summit 2023 pada hari ini. Kita berikan waktu untuk mengisi formulir terlebih dahulu kepada para tamu undangan dan juga para peserta sekalian. Kami persilakan. Ya, dan sebelum acara ditutup nanti juga kami persilakan ya ketika kita akan meninggalkan tempat kepada teman-teman peserta ya. Silakan untuk juga bisa mengambil buku. Ini karya dari Ibu Verika Kristianto ya yang dapat diambil di meja registrasi kewenangan menggugat pilot dalam perjanjian kredit sindikasi ya. Dan kami informasikan karena jumlahnya juga cukup terbatas, jadi on first come first serve base ya, siapa cepat dia dapat. Kami persilakan nanti kepada peserta untuk mengambil buku dari karya dari Ibu Verika Kristianto di meja registrasi. Iya, Masih ada yang belum selesai mengisi formnya atau sudah selesai semuanya? Yang belum selesai boleh angkat tangan supaya kita tahu. Coba yang belum selesai, ya masih ada beberapa, masih kita tunggu ya. Jangan khawatir, ini sifatnya bukan ujian ya. Jadi yang penting terisi semua baru kita silahkan disubmit. Ya, masih ada yang belum selesai? Kalau masih ada yang belum selesai, boleh angkat tangan dulu. Yang belum selesai angkat tangan. Oke, masih ada. Baik, kita masih kasih kesempatan ya. Ya, masih ada yang belum selesai, boleh angkat tangan. Kalau masih ada yang belum selesai, oke masih ada, kita masih tunggu ya. Dan yang sudah selesai boleh tetap duduk terlebih dahulu ya. Ya, sudah selesai semuanya mungkin? Sudah selesai atau masih ada yang belum? Masih ada yang belum, boleh angkat tangan. Oke, kayaknya udah nggak ada yang angkat tangan lagi, berarti mungkin sudah selesai semua. Dan sebelum acara kita tutup, kita boleh sama-sama foto ya, bareng-bareng. Dan silakan semuanya untuk berdiri dulu. Silakan para peserta, ya para tamu-tamu silakan berdiri. Dan supaya fotonya lebih rapi, mungkin untuk kursi-kursi yang berada di baris depan ya boleh diisi terlebih dahulu. Silakan mungkin yang kursi depannya masih ada yang kosong, boleh maju silakan diisi dulu untuk kursi-kursi yang berada di baris paling depan ya. Dan kita semua akan berdiri menghadap arah panggung karena juru fotonya akan mengambil dari atas panggung ya. Silakan sekali lagi teman-teman peserta semuanya boleh bangkit berdiri. Sekali lagi silakan untuk lebih merapat ke depan ya. Ya, kursi-kursi yang ada di depan boleh diisi dulu teman-teman ya, silahkan boleh merapat semuanya, silahkan. Kursi-kursi yang berada di sisi kiri kanan semuanya boleh diisi, yang paling depan dulu. Ya, kita akan foto 3 kali teman-teman ya. Kita akan foto sekali dengan gaya formal ya. Sekali lagi gaya bebas kayak di kondangan kita ya. Oke, dan yang terakhir foto yang terakhir yang ketiga, semuanya bendera merah putihnya boleh diangkat ya. Ya, silakan ya. Ini untuk gaya formalnya dulu ya, gaya formalnya dulu ya. Gaya formalnya mungkin tangannya boleh ada di depan semuanya ya, depan bawah ya, bukan depan ke depan ya. Silakan semuanya ya. Ya, boleh lihat ke arah kamera semuanya, pandangan matanya ya. 1, 2, 3. Gaya formalnya cukup atau sekali lagi? Oke, banyak yang minta lagi. Banyak kan ibu-ibu jadi mintanya lagi pasti ya. Formalnya ke depan aja Pak, ada boleh di depan ya. Silahkan sekali lagi 1, 2, 3. Oke, gaya formalnya udah, sekarang gaya bebas ya semuanya, silakan. Tanpa bendera dulu, yang bendera nanti yang terakhir, bendera terakhir, tenang, tenang. Bendera ada momennya tersendiri ya. Oke, silakan gaya bebas ya. 1, 2, 3. Ada atau sekali lagi atau sudah gaya bebasnya sudah ngasih jempol, berarti sekarang yang bendera, oh masih ada bendera, saya belum dapat bendera malah. Oh ya, nggak apa-apa masih. Oh ini ada dapat, udah dapat. Oke, sekarang semua.
Kami berharap bahwa program MBKM yang mengambil tema pokok tentang bagaimana merawat kerukunan umat beragama yang kemudian ada di dalam modul Nusantara ini bisa berjalan secara sustainable. Dan sore tadi teman-teman tim MBKM ini sudah mengunjungi beberapa titik, diantaranya adalah gereja paroki, kemudian gereja Pasundan, kemudian juga Yayasan Islam Fisabilillah yang berada di Kampung Sawah, Kelurahan Jatimurni, Kota Bekasi.
Kiranya kegiatan ini boleh bersama-sama menularkan virus persaudaraan, virus toleransi, sehingga kita semua dapat menjalani kehidupan dengan rukun, bukan hanya antar agama, antar suku, antar golongan, dan kita semua boleh hidup berbineka, sehingga nilai-nilai Pancasila kita hidupi dalam kehidupan sehari-hari dan semua bagian bangsa ini boleh merasakan damai sejahtera.
Saya pikir ini menjadi satu kesempatan baik buat kami menyampaikan pesan-pesan ini yang barangkali bisa juga ditularkan untuk tempat-tempat lain.
Generasi muda ini ada kemajuan karena berkunjung ke lokasi kampung sawah ini kan yang dikenal kampung Pancasila, ada kerukunan. Jadi berarti ada niat dari mereka generasi muda ini menciptakan suasana di masyarakat manapun dia nanti beraktivitas, ya harus ada menampilkan sosok yang paling utama itu hidup rukun.
Kami mengucapkan apresiasi setinggi-tingginya sekaligus terima kasih kepada tim MBKM Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia Jakarta yang berkunjung bersama dengan tim MBKM Merdeka Belajar Kampus Merdeka bersama 19 mahasiswa dari 14 kampus seluruh Indonesia, mulai dari yang ujung barat Universitas Syahwala sampai kampus di ujung timur Indonesia Universitas Mataram, Kampung Sawah, Kelurahan Jatimurni, Kota Bekasi, yang memang secara historis Kampung Sawah ini menjadi role model atau model percontohan bagaimana proses kerukunan beragama itu bisa terawat dengan baik dan terpelihara sampai saat ini. Nah, sekali lagi kami mengucapkan terima kasih atas kunjungan tim MBKM Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia. Mudah-mudahan kita bisa bersinergi secara lebih baik dan lebih produktif lagi. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The mystical beauty of arts, culture, and heritage from east to west. We are ready to welcome the world We are strong. We are the heirs of generations to create a better future. BNI for stronger Indonesia.